Look what we have here. Another beautiful day. Everybody's tuning in. You are now rocking with Spoon the World, aka Spoon. You're definitely dealing with the Spoon Fed Podcast, another episode. Before we begin, like, subscribe, share, comment. Please do that, man, because this whole also helps us interact and learn from what you understand from what I'm telling y'all and what I'm trying to teach y'all. Because it is important. At times it might sound comical, it might sound prolonged, but I'm trying to get the point across. All right. So before we get to the episode, check this out. You already know what we're gonna do. The sponsors, without a doubt. You already have Splash Clothing. We got this nice windbreaker, good for the winter at times, good for the spring and the summer, especially when you want to do a light run. Just did a little light run today. Of course, it's getting hot, so you know what? This is also good at night because you got the reflective colors. So, but say if you running in the street, you'll be safe. But this is the Splash Purge City Windbreaker. The logo's on the back. You're gonna see it's a nice logo, man. Nice design. But today's topic today, a lot of people need to hear this. Trusting your instincts and knowing when to cut off a relationship. This is very important because a lot of people I see in men and women, they do not know how to cut off a relationship, especially when it's toxic. And I'm like, okay, you have to understand a few things. In any situation, there's a relationship, friendship, companionship, situationship, and any other underlying entanglements that we might have. But let's get to it. One thing you have to understand, when it comes to any relationship, companionship, friendship, any one of those, what is the root word that's in all those words? Ship. A ship is supposed to take you from a destination to your main destination. So it's supposed to take you from one place to another place. But let's understand this. If the relationship ain't working, if a friendship ain't working, if the companionship ain't working, or the situationship ain't working, it's time to abandon ship. You need to rewind that. I'm gonna say this again. A relationship, companionship, relationship, any one of them joints, friendship, it don't matter. I repeated it so you could understand and let it sink in. If it's not getting you to a destination, a healthy destination, it's time to abandon ship. That's why ships have emergency rafts, just in case you have to get off that mug. And don't get it twisted. Just because you're on a ship, whether it's a relationship, companionship, friendship, doesn't mean it's not going to get rocky. Remember, an actual ship will go through a storm, and it will actually survive that storm depending how strong the foundation of that ship is. If it's buoyant enough, does it have enough cargo on it, meaning baggage, or does it have enough resources on it just in case there's some water that gets on the ship that you could help get that water out, the troubles out, so you won't capsize. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing with life and the relationships, friendships, and companionships that we all go through. It's just that we're not paying attention. So I say that to say this. You have to trust your instincts when you are getting involved in any type of situation, especially when you're dealing with family and friends and loved ones. They're all important. This is why at times I say stay dangerous. And this is another episode, but this is why I say stay dangerous, because people are like, why you say stay dangerous? Because when you say stay safe, you're already saying, you're looking at it as I'm possibly the victim. No, I'm not trying to be the victim. That's a different mentality. You know what I'm saying? When you meet people, or when you're in front of people, let's speak about relations and companionship and friendship and stuff like that. You might get overwhelmed, or you might get, oh my God, this person is beautiful. Oh my God. Like, once you control your desires, whether you're a man or a female, you can think clearly. Remember, you think after the physical, right? There's the mental. After the emotional, which is your heart, is the mental. After that, you get to your spiritual, which is your gut, your navel. I'm gonna break that down. Why you think the Navy? Why you think they call it the Navy actually? Because the root word Navy means to guide, and that's why our navel, our belly button, is called navel. It sounds like Navy. Pretty much, your core, especially when you're in a good situation or a bad situation. When you're in a good situation or exciting situation, you get butterflies, right? That's your navel. It's just like a ship. It's letting you know that you're getting some emotions that you might like like. But when you question yourself, or if you feel something's not right, you feel it in your gut, your navel again, right? That's your instincts. And once your instincts align up with your heart might beat faster, right? And then your mind might be like, you know what? Something don't feel right. That's your instincts talking to you clearly. And you gotta have, you have to get out your desires, because your desires, your emotions cloud the conscious mind on making good decisions. And that's gonna be one of our next episodes, but decision making. But you have to have your emotions in check in order for you to respect yourself and the other person, because sometimes people do things to you that they don't even realize they're doing, and you have to be able to check them. Which brings me to my next point. Whether it's relationship, friendship, companionship, whatever, and I'm gonna tell you a story that happened to me. I'm gonna get personal. You have to set boundaries for people in your life, because if you don't set boundaries for people in your life, they will feel like they could walk all over you. They could do anything to you. Remember, respect is fear. When you hear somebody, you better respect me, they're saying you better fear me. This is the way the world is. You have to accept it. And you have to be able to pay attention to body language. You have to be able to pay attention to your environment. And you have to pay attention to people's cues. Because a person will tell you who they are from jump. They will definitely tell you who they are. You just have to be able to decipher what they're trying to relay to you, whether it's directly or indirectly, conscious or subconscious. The world has its way of identifying these special cues. It's just that it's up to you to ID them. Healthy identification. And knowing yourself is better than anything, because once you know yourself, you could read yourself better. Like, yo, why am I feeling like this? Because you have to gauge how people are around you. You have to be able to gauge that. Like, I'm gonna tell you a situation. Like, we all been through this. We ever been in a situation where you went to a certain area whether it's somebody you like, and you might like the person, you might feel good, and but then something don't feel right. You better listen to that. That's your brain, or your heart, or your gut saying, bro, pay attention. And I see this a lot when you see red flags. You don't cut people off just for one red flag, depending on what it is. But certain red flags you just can't ignore. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. If a person, let's say if I'm walking with a girl, right? And we just trying to get to know each other. She likes me, but then she's all in the next man's face, and while she's walking with me, huge red flag. That means you are an attention seeker. Why are you looking? It's all right to look. Don't get it twisted. But if you breaking your neck and you just all up in somebody's face, it's like, how can I take you serious? You know what I'm saying? That's the instinct speaker right there. Remember this. Always look at the small things. And I know you'd be like, well, if I look at the small things, what about the big things? Don't overthink it. When I mean look at the small things, remember, if you can't trust somebody off the small things, you cannot trust them when them situations get bigger. And to add on to that, to help you guys, to help guide you through this matrix of a world that we live in, that's full of emotions and full of attention-seeking people, your instincts will kick in naturally. It's just up to you to give them energy. You see what I'm saying? Pay attention to it. Don't be like, you know what? And a lot of us felt this way. We felt a certain way and we gave them a pass. No. I'm not saying don't jump out and say something. Oh, why is this? No. Don't look insecure. That's one thing about knowing yourself. If that bothers you, if that triggers you, take a deep breath and be like, nah, okay, that could be one thing, but don't forget it. Put it in your mental index like, okay. But it's multiple red flags that I see people go through and they like, oh, I didn't see the problem. Yes, you did. You just ignored it. I hear this from men and women, even myself. Dead serious. Because don't listen to words. Don't listen to actions. You pay attention to patterns. That is the trick. 3-step process. Just like what I said in the beginning. You got the physical, you got the emotional, and you got the spiritual, right? Emotional is when you're looking at a person and then you get feelings. That's your heart. Physical is when you see a person, then it leads to you getting emotions. You're thinking, that's your brain processing. But when something hits your gut like, oh, is this person right for me? That's your gut, your instincts talking. Depending if you're aligned with your true self, you might be just paranoid. But the thing is, you have to settle down when you're not in a state of emotions and realize, think, did I like this? Did I like that? Sometimes it's not just your type, it's your standards. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all just have types, but you don't even know your standards. And some of y'all have standards and don't even know your type. You got to pick one. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all will never understand your type. And some of y'all standards are way too high. But let me get back. Let me not go on a tangent. Let me get back to what I was saying. You have to understand the 3 steps. Like when it comes to reading people and understanding your instincts. Pretty much, you don't go off of words. Don't believe nothing somebody tell you. Don't even always believe what they show you all the time. Their pattern is their true self. A pattern is something that you can't take away from somebody. They're stuck in their way. It's just like if you bump into a liar, you know if they're lying because they might do something. They might twitch when they lie. They don't know they're doing it. But by you keeping your mouth shut and reading people, you could understand what's going on. Especially if they ask you a question, they can't look you in your face. That's a red flag. It's like, bro, like you're manipulating. And something's up with that. It's like, well, what are you trying to learn me to burn me? That's what you have to. That's what a lot of people have to understand. Certain people are trying to learn you, so they get over and burn you. But it's a cold world, man. But I'm gonna tell y'all a little story, and what I mean by knowing when to walk away or cut off a situation. It could be family, friends, whatever. I had to cut off some family. I had to cut off some friends. I had to cut off loved ones. I could break this down. Let me go to the main thing where people have a problem. First, friendships. Like, real friends is going to respect your opinion. You can have a healthy debate. You can have a healthy intuition of each other, and that will help y'all grow. Y'all will not have or believe in every single thing that the other person believes in or the other friend believes in. That's fine. That's a healthy friendship. Meaning that you could be able to check your friend when they do wrong. A lot of friends can't do that. Like, you're afraid to speak up when your friend's doing wrong. That's not a real friend. I'll tell you right off the back. If I can't speak to my friend about what they're doing wrong, or they can't speak to me what I'm doing wrong, that's not a real friendship. That's a situation that's headed for disaster. You just don't realize it yet. Your boat is about to sink. So trust your instincts on that. If you feel a certain way, like, yo, why they acting like that? Like, give them space. Just see what they're doing and just give them space, because sometimes a person could be going through their own things and not really realize what they're doing to you. And if it bothers you that much, you can speak to them about it. But the thing is, if you speak to them about it and it consists, you know what you got to do. That's just one situation with friends. Y'all not dumb. Y'all know how to decipher. It's just that y'all choose to be in certain situations because you think that you need them. Don't ever make it feel like you need somebody, especially if you're a stand-up person. And number 2 is relationships with family. Like, certain people, we give them the benefit of the doubt. One thing that I should have said in the beginning, your expectations are the mother of all mess ups or foul ups, I should say. When you expect something out of any relationship or friendship or any type of bond, you're setting yourself up for failure. I'm guilty of that. Because I'm gonna tell you part of my family. Like, I had a family member that I thought was riding for me, but they showed me a pattern that they wasn't. And then my cloudheadedness was like, you know what? This is family. That's family. They ain't. Look at the signs. And I sort of put in the back of my mind like, this person wasn't good for me. And they would show me different things. Like, they were doing talk behind my back. They were doing little sneaky things. And I just kept a mental note like, nah, bro, like, this person is not for me. But I just didn't know how to, separate. I know a lot of people is going through that. Like, a family member could be doing some foul stuff. And you like, on the low, and you be like, that's family though. Telling you right off the back. Slowly wean yourself out that situation. And the thing is, you could talk to the person, but if they in denial, oh, I'm never doing this, or I don't do that, no, just cut them off, because that's telling you that they're not going to be honest with you when you see certain things, and they will never be honest with you. I'm going through that right now, so I just have to cut the person off. It's too bad. That's their loss, because if I check you and then I know I'm not doing wrong, and then another family member tells me about the same thing you're doing, it's not me, it's a pattern. See, paying attention? One of the biggest ones of them all is relationships with loved ones. And I'm going to tell you a story about this. But before I get to the story, I'm going to tell you an example. People show you how they feel towards you. You never have to question if somebody really genuinely likes you, because they will show you this consistently. They will show you you're important. If you have to question if somebody likes you, that means they don't like you. That means either they got comfortable with you, or they got you like, okay, you're not as important that I made you seem to be. And that's important. Don't let nobody play with your heart. You know what I'm saying? If you have to question if somebody like you, already put in your mind they don't like you, to save yourself. And that's usually what it means. Because if I like somebody, I show them like, yo, I want to be with you. Remember, people make time for who they want to make time for. Don't take nothing else. If a person skips on you or whatever, if it's relationship friend, you got to jump ship. But let me tell you a quick story. It comes down to respect as well. I was in a relationship, right? And I can say this proudly, even though I don't want to say it proudly. Like, I actually paid attention in my main relationships. A woman never broke up with me. Just being honest. I've dealt with a lot of women, but I only had 2 serious relationships. Because growing up, I realized like, whoa, I got to learn a person. I got to be with a person. I can't just, be around and have fun. Nah, I got to learn this. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that, hey, my boundaries is this. But my last situation, I didn't put up boundaries. So I didn't check the woman early. Like, yo, if you do these 3 things, or if you do certain things, I'm not saying you got to be in an aggressive manner. You could talk to the person like, listen, I'm not saying what you can do, what you could do. But if you do these things, I won't take you seriously. And that's the problem. You got to be honest with people. Your instincts will kick in, especially when you're honest with people. So you won't have to question yourself. Well, did we talk about that? Like, no. Tell them out the gate how you feel and what you're looking for in a real relationship, friendship, or in a family tie. So it's like, if they cannot respect that, then they can't respect themselves. And they was bound to do what they want to do anyway. If they didn't respect your boundaries. So I'm gonna put it like this: like, a girl was being disrespectful. She came out her face and said something totally disrespectful to me. And in my mind, I was already done. I broke up with her then. But then my problem is I let her back, and I didn't tell her my boundaries. I was like, yo, I should have said right off the back, if you disrespect me, whatever, we do all this, we're not together. But I let that persist, and then came down the line, the disrespect got more and more and more subtle. It was snippets, and it was getting worse and worse. And I'm like, dang, like, why is she doing that? That's my fault, because I didn't check her boundaries. So my instinct was already telling me this is not going to get better because of what I alluded in the beginning. And I was right. So since I didn't listen to that, and this could save a lot of y'all, I didn't listen to that and almost got myself in a situation where I will leave for another podcast, another episode. But always listen to your instincts, and I cut her off, and now I'm doing way better. Stay dangerous, y'all. Like, subscribe, comment, and tune in for the next episode. Splash. And know when to cut them off, man. Family, friends, loved ones, it don't matter, because it's for your health and your mental well-being and physical well-being. Because only you gonna look after you.